Beginning. The engines of Outpost 9 always sang a different tune at dusk. A low, throbbing hum filled the metal corridors, a sound that only Elias Ward, the human chief mechanic, truly understood. He'd been stationed on this backwater asteroid hub for 3 years now, far from Earth, surrounded by dozens of alien species and knee-deep in grease and broken reactor coils. He liked it that way. Machines didn't talk behind his back. Aliens, though, they did. Especially the Threxians, massive, crystalline beings with faces like shards of glass and egos to match. Their emperor had recently taken to honoring outposts with diplomatic gifts. When he'd sent an armored shipment addressed directly to Elias, the entire station had gathered to mock it before it was even opened. The emperor sends his daughter. One Threxian laughed, its jagged voice echoing through the hangar. A human's prize. Perhaps she'll break the floor when she steps off the ship. Elias ignored the jeers, pried open the crate, and froze. Inside, standing awkwardly in ceremonial silks, was a woman. Or rather, a Threxian hybrid, the first he'd ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, a dusky violet tone beneath the metallic light. She wasn't the towering, blade-thin form of her crystalline kin. She was soft, round, and visibly nervous. "You're Elias Ward?" she asked quietly. Her voice carried a gentle metallic undertone, like wind through chimes. "That's me," he said. "And you are?" "Princess Kiralen of Threxia," she said, bowing slightly. "My father sent me to serve." The words hit Elias like a hammer. Serve? Behind him, the aliens howled with laughter. To them, it was a humiliation, sending their undesirable daughter to a filthy human mechanic on a backwater rock. But Elias didn't laugh. He saw something different. The way she stood, shoulders trembling but unbroken. The way her hands were covered in faint grease stains already, like she'd tried to fix something herself before coming here. "You don't serve me," he said quietly. "But if you want to work, there's a spare cot in the corner and a plasma converter that needs tuning." For the first time, Kira smiled. Weeks passed, and the outpost learned to stop laughing. Elias and Kira worked side by side, turning the dusty hangar into something alive again. Kira wasn't delicate, no matter how she looked. Beneath the roundness was strength, dense Threxian muscle interlaced with biocrystal veins that glowed faintly when she focused. She could lift engine cores Elias could barely drag, and she did it with quiet patience. "You're too good at this," he said one evening, wiping sweat from his brow as they worked on a freighter's stabilizer. "My father made me study ship architecture," Kira replied. "He said no one would ever want me as a consort, so I might as well make myself useful." There was no bitterness in her tone, but there was hurt buried deep. Elias recognized it. He'd been unwanted too. A mechanic instead of a soldier, sent far from home because humans weren't diplomatic enough for the core worlds. "He's wrong," Elias muttered. Kira looked up. "About what?" "About no one wanting you." The words hung there, heavy and sincere. Kira blinked, color shifting across her cheeks like bioluminescent blush. That night, when the work was done, she stayed behind to help him clean the shop. They sat on crates, sharing rations, Elias's nutrient bars and her shimmering crystal wafers. "You don't mind how I look?" she asked suddenly. "You look like someone who belongs here," he said. "In the shop. With the work. With me." Kira's gaze softened. No one's ever said that before. From that day on, something changed. The outpost's laughter died. They saw how she carried herself, the way her crystalline aura pulsed brighter when she was near Elias. He treated her like an equal, and in turn, she brought out a part of him he'd forgotten. Hope. Then came the Emperor's recall. A golden transmission flared through the comms one morning. The Emperor himself appeared, massive, translucent, seated on a throne of light. His jagged mouth curled in disdain. "Human Elias Ward," the Emperor rumbled, "you were meant to endure my daughter, not befoul her reputation. Return her immediately." The entire hangar crew froze. Kira's hands clenched. Elias stepped forward, wiping grease on his sleeve, unbothered by the cosmic ruler glaring down at him. "With respect," Elias said, "she's free to leave when she wants. But she's not your property anymore. You dare." Kira interrupted, stepping beside him. "Father, you sent me here to be rid of me. You thought he would reject me. He did not." Her glow intensified, veins of blue light tracing through her arms as emotion surged. "Here I am valued," she said. "I will not return to be your mockery." The Emperor's crystalline features fractured into visible fury. "You defy me for human?" "No," she said softly. "I choose him." The connection snapped. Conflict. The retaliation came swiftly. Within 2 days, Threxian warships appeared in orbit around Outpost 9. A retrieval unit, they called it. In truth, it was an execution order. Elias stood in the docking bay as alarms blared. Kira stood beside him, armored in a reinforced exosuit she'd built herself, glowing faintly in the emergency lights. "They won't stop," she said grimly. "If I stay, they'll destroy this place." "Then we leave," Elias replied. "You and me. They'll follow. Let them. I've rebuilt worse engines than theirs." They loaded onto an old freighter, the Dandelion, a rusted cargo ship that barely met flight standards. But with Kira's modifications, its core thrummed like a new heart. As they lifted off, Threxian interceptors broke formation and dived. The asteroid's surface shook with plasma fire. Elias wrestled with the controls, sweat pouring down his temples. "We've got one chance. Hit the pulse injectors on my mark." "Ready," Kira called, bracing herself against the console. 3-2 now. The ship surged forward in a burst of light, a shockwave rippling behind it as the Threxian ships spun out. They jumped into deep space, systems screaming in protest. For a moment, there was silence. Then Kira laughed, a bright, ringing sound that filled the cabin. "You actually did it," Elias grinned. "You're the one who tuned the injectors. We make a good team." She smiled softly, touching his arm. "We do." But the victory didn't last long. Their ship was damaged, power bleeding from the hull. They drifted into the nebula near the Varan belt, hiding among the plasma clouds. Elias went to work patching conduits while Kira monitored signals. Hours passed. They sat together on the grated floor, surrounded by humming circuits. "When I was young," Kira said quietly, "my father told me that softness was weakness, that I should have been sharper, taller, thinner, more like my sisters." "He's a fool," Elias said without hesitation. "Maybe, but I believed him for a long time." She looked at him. "Until you looked at me and didn't see what he did." Elias reached out, taking her hand. Her crystalline skin was warm, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. "I don't care what shape a person has," he said. "I care what they build."